I'm Bob Eldridge. I'm a director here at Redstone. I've been here since 2014. Prior to that, I spent about 33 years with the Defense Contract Audit Agency, retiring as a regional audit manager.
Today, our topic of conversation is just going to be planning for 2020, anything that we as companies should be considering for the upcoming year.
So there's really four categories, and the first one is the DFARS business system reviews. And we're seeing right now a huge increase in the number of those audits being conducted by both DCAA and by DCMA, driven in large part because, particularly with DCAA, they have a lot more resources available now, now that they've caught up on their incurred cost backlog, and they still have the same number of auditors, so they're going to continue doing those audits. So for DCAA, we're seeing a large pickup in the accounting system reviews and the estimating system reviews in particular, but also some increased activity in the MMAS, Material Management Accounting System audits. For DCMA in particular, we're seeing a significant increase in CPSR purchasing system reviews. And particularly they're really starting to go more to smaller contractors than what they have necessarily audited in the past. And then we're also seeing an increase in property system audits by DCMA. And so the second issue is really related, but it's for smaller contractors, and that's accounting system reviews and the time-sensitive audits, floor checks, and material observations. The accounting system reviews in particular, we're seeing an increase, but worse than that, DCAA seems to be, regardless of whether the contractor is subject to the DFARS rules, they're trying to apply that same criteria from the DFARS business system rules even to smaller contractors. And they've actually set up their audit program to include those references, even though if they're not applicable, they may or may not actually cite them in the report, but they're still trying to hold the smaller contractors to the same level of accountability. And then the third area that we're hearing from DCAA, and we're starting to see a pickup, is in their post-award TINA reviews, commonly known as defective pricing reviews. And so we're just now starting to see an increase in that area, but we've been told by DCAA that they're going to have an increased focus this year on those types of reviews. And then the final area of emphasis is really a continuing area of emphasis, and that is executive compensation. DCAA sees that as low-hanging fruit, and so pretty much every incurred cost review and every forward pricing review, they're going back to their compensation team that they call a center of excellence, and going back and reviewing executive compensation and trying to find surveys, as a basis to question those costs.
What is your advice on how contractors should prepare to deal with these challenges?
So with respect to the system reviews, both the business systems and the accounting system audits, there's a huge emphasis on policies and procedures. So really there's two things that we advise. One is to go through and make sure that you have policies and procedures to cover all of the areas of focus related to those audits. And then the second thing is to make sure that if you have policies and procedures, that those policies and procedures are up to date. There's no defense against violating your own policies and procedures, And so based on that, you want to make sure that you don't have policies and procedures that you're not going to comply with or not going to do. That's worse than not having the policy and procedure at all. With respect to the TINA awards, really it's a good time to review your proposal preparation practices and make sure that you're identifying all of the pertinent information needed for pricing and disclosing that to the government. But more importantly for those types of reviews is you really need to take a look at your scrubbing process for items that may come in between the time you actually prepared the proposal and the time that you actually agreed on a price with the government. And then the final area that I recommend you take a look at is your executive compensation. Now's really the time to start gathering the survey information and the information to support your executive compensation. It's always better to do that in advance than to wait until DCAA has challenged your executive compensation. And along with that, now's really the time that you should be looking at your bonus plan and ensuring that your bonuses are based on appropriate performance metrics and that type of information to be allowable under FAR 31 205-6. So those are primarily the things that I think you need to focus on now. One other item it's the beginning of the year, so it's also a good opportunity to take a look at your training plan and what you're planning to ensure that the responsible personnel have the knowledge and skills that they need to comply. There are a number of ways that we can assist you. First of all, in assessing the adequacy of your systems, we can come in and perform a risk assessment and gap analysis to identify where you may need additional policies and procedures or areas of risk or concern related to compliance. The second thing that we can do is if there are gaps, we can help you to address those gaps, either helping you to prepare new policies and procedures or update policies and procedures. And we can also help you with developing an appropriate corrective action plan, for any gaps that we identify. With respect to executive compensation, we have an outstanding group of HR consultants, and we can help pull appropriate compensation information to help you support your bonus plans, to help you support your salaries and your salaries and your incentive compensation. So those are areas that our HR department or HR consultants can really help you with. And then, finally, we can help you with, training. We can conduct on-site compliance training if you need us to. We can customize training for your specific organization to make sure that it matches what you actually do, as opposed to just a generic training. It really kind of depends on what you need. So ultimately, we're not successful if you're not successful. And so, as we head into 2020 and the beginning of not only a new year but a new decade, we want you to know that we're here to help you and we're available. And we wish you the best. The more successful you are, the more successful we are.